Hey, Jon, welcome.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you here. I've been a big fan, and I'm going to fangirl out all day today, so I apologize in advance.
Well, likewise. I'm fans of both you guys. So
we wanted to start the conversation just a little bit, just to get to know you a little bit better. Can you tell us some things about you, maybe that most people don't know, or just set the stage for us?
Oh, let's see. I think I started out as a drummer. I don't think a lot of people know that.
Totally didn't know that.
Yeah, that was my first instrument as a kid, and that was my goal, to be a drummer. And then one of the early bands I was in, we couldn't find a keyboard player, and I could do that too. So then I became a keyboard player. And then we got a different drummer. And then as you invest more money in keyboards, I just kind of became a keyboard player for like a decade or so. I was still playing guitar and other things. A lot of my sideman stuff in Minneapolis and Wisconsin for a bit too I was mainly a keyboard player, but I did start out a drummer. My first bands, I was a drummer.
Did you teach yourself music, or have you always been a musician? How did that come to pass?
Oh, well, we had a piano in the house growing up. So I'm from a family of 8. There's a bunch of us. I'm the last of the litter. And there's always a family piano. So every one of us took lessons for a little bit off and on. And then, I took some lessons, learned a little bit of that stuff. I could never read very good, though. So most of it was ear training, just kind of learning songs and writing songs. And then guitar, I taught myself, learning from other friends. And as you get in bands, you see them do, hey, how'd you do that? And then you kind of figure it out. Yeah, a lot of it's self-taught, though.
Yeah, that's cool. We've been talking to quite a few people, and it's amazing to me and sort of interesting now that we've heard so many people tell us that they got started at home, either through their mom or their dad, or their grandparents, cousins playing music.
I found that true, too. A lot of my friends that are musicians, it's usually their dad had a guitar laying around or their mom had a piano in the house and they played and watched them. And yeah, it kind of transcends from the family line. A lot of my brothers and sisters, especially my 2 sisters closest to my age, they were fantastic piano players, and they took to it way more easy than I did. I was the most persistent one that stuck with it. But yeah, all of my family, they can all, if they, they just stopped playing, but if they'd have kept with it, they'd all be way better than me. They're all really good.
I wonder what's going to happen with kids. Like, do people still have pianos in their houses? And I guess so.
Yeah, maybe they got like little MIDI keyboards, like those little small ones.
Yeah, those are cool.
Hook up to the computer or something. But yeah, I don't know.
I know a lot of, I play games, a lot of kids I talk to are inspired by the music in video games, which just fascinates me. There's a whole beautiful scores of music, right?
Yeah, they've got guys that do movies now doing video game scores. So yeah, there's some full orchestra stuff in games. It's getting pretty, it's as good as anything. Some really great game scores.
What do you do other than music in your spare time?
I like to grill.
Yeah.
I like to sit backyard and make steaks. And I apologize to vegetarians out there, but
grill vegetables. Yeah, it's okay.
We like to grill. Yeah, just sit around, listen to music, listen to records, and play games. I'm a big gamer too. I like tabletop games. My family, my wife and stepson and I, we have quite the tabletop collection of games.
When you say tabletop, do you mean like Dungeons and Dragons tabletop, or what kind of? I
used to play that in high school, and we bought all that stuff, but we haven't played as a family yet. But we have like Smash Up, like those card games, and I'm going to be blanking on some of the names. Alice is out there. She can put some in chat. But we have like Mansions of Madness. We have Kittens versus. I forget what that one's called. But yeah. And a new one that we've been playing that my stepson really likes, and I can't think of the name, but it's really cool. But yeah, so just a plethora of board games that we like to dig out and play.
Are you rolling your eyes at Dungeons and Dragons?
No. My son is a Dungeons and Dragons freak. Yeah, he's 17 and he spends his time with a bunch of pasty-faced 30-somethings playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Really?
That's cool. Good for him.
Mm-hmm.
Does he have a character that he likes? Like, does he have a long-time character? Sometimes.
Yeah, he does, and he's obsessed. He's obsessed with dwarves.
Oh, you can't go wrong with a dwarf. They're fun.
And he allocated me a character. He thought it was hilarious. He decided I was an anise hag. The picture of this thing was not complimentary.
Oh, jeez.
Right.
So you can terrify some people and. As a character.
I don't know what it says about my role as his mother.
Oh, wow.
Before we got started, I was Speaking of your wife, I was telling you how much I love that photo that you tweeted out where you're sitting on the floor. I guess it's your living room.
Yep.
With a bunch of albums. I was telling Robert, I was like, oh, there's Synchronicities, like my favorite album ever.
Yeah.
But
That's great.
can you give us some insight into the kind of music that you find most interesting?
I think it's usually, there's got to be something like sonically in there. Musically, there's like maybe a weird instrumentation, or I like hybrids of organic instruments with maybe some electronic stuff built into it. I like straight up rock bands too. I mean, there's really no set rule, but a lot of the stuff that I really am drawn to, or you can hear a band, but then there's also like this cool electronic element in there too. Hybrid music where different styles interject, and you maybe go from some world music in with just some straight driving beats too, and rock mixed in with all that stuff. I like hybrid music where where you're kind of like a little surprised by some of the turns that happen within a song.
You can hear that in your compositions. I was telling a friend of mine, they were asking, who are you and what kind of music do you do? And I said, well, I think if I took Danny Elfman and David Byrne and crashed them together, you would find some Jon Larson in there.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, both those, it just feels like you like a lot of texture in your music.
Yeah, the layering is, I like that kind of stuff where there's maybe like one verse is a little bit different than the next verse, and maybe there's like a sound that comes that wasn't in the first part of the song, kind of freshen the ears up a little bit maybe.
And you write all your lyrics and music both, yeah?
Yeah, there's a few co-writing things here and there. Like on the new one, Voodoo Shilton and I wrote Minstrel Without a Face together. And then some of the older albums, there's a singer back in Minneapolis. Her stage name is Emmaline Muchmore. I know her as Heidi. But she was singing on a tune, and she ended up coming up with some verses and some other melodies. So I consider that a songwriting collaboration. But for the most part, I do a lot of writing on my own, in isolation kind of a thing.
Is there anything behind Lies and Shenanigans that I should know?
It's a fun story. My wife and stepson and I were at a Red Robin. I don't know if those are all over. Yep, I think they're everywhere. And this was like 3 years ago, and we were just joking around, waiting for our food. And at the end of one of our sessions of joking around, my stepson, he just blurted out, "That's Lies and Shenanigans." And I just kind of looked at him and said, "That would be a great song title or an album title." And so I kind of put it in the back pocket and tried to make a lyrical song out of it, but never really happened. And then I thought, well, maybe it could just be an instrumental, something funky. And so made the instrumental that is called Lies and Shenanigans. But I knew this next album was going to be called that regardless, because I thought that was a really good title he came up with. I probably owe him money. So eventually
you probably
he's probably going to lawyer and come after me.
And now he knows.
Yeah. He's already made comments about that.
Can you tell me, when this is your fifth album, right?
Yeah.
Can you remember back when you did the first one?
Yeah, that was a while ago. There was a big break. That was when I was in Minneapolis. It was around 2006 or something.
Yeah, 2006.
Yeah, it's a while ago. And I'd been in a lot of bands as a sideman, but always writing off to myself and just making demos and stuff. And then finally I decided to put an album out. Yeah, that one was, early days of recording with computers, for sure. And I know a lot of the sounds were, they could be better. But I think, it was just recorded in my apartment. And then I had a lot of friends that I knew I wanted to have on it. So there's a lot of guests on that one, bandmates that I'd been working with. And it was a big break. And then I just didn't make another album until the last, 5-6 years now. And then I started kind of going into a spurt.
Why the break?
Oh, I think just busy with the sideman stuff, and it was before it was easy to digitally release music, and I just found that when I've made that first one, I made physical CDs. The only album I ever actually printed CDs for, and I've never been very good at the promotional part of stuff, and I just kind of felt like, well, I don't know what the point in another one is. And then when it got easier to put things on like Bandcamp or put things digitally out there, I'm like, oh, this might be a way to go now. So I always was kind of shied away from the actual printing of a product thing and the expense in that. So it's a little bit easier to do it now digitally. The making it is not, but the final delivery is not as extensive as the old days when you had to print stuff up and make physical copies.
You left Second Life recently, right? Last few months?
Yeah, I've been taking a break since December. Yeah, just taking a break. I'll be back at some point.
Have you taken a break before?
Yeah, I've done this before. I've had little spurts where I needed to recharge a little bit. day job's been getting pretty busy. So, and just kind of needed to give the ears a break too. I finished the last album, and I remixed a couple of the other ones too, and my ears were getting a little fatigued. There's no big reason, just needing a little bit of a time to recoup a little and re-energize.
Well, I watched the videos. You put out a few videos of some recent live that you were practicing, I guess, for this, and you put a few videos out. How many instruments do you play?
Not that many. Drums, I'm dormant as a drummer anymore. I haven't played drums. I actually don't even have a kit anymore. But I do drums on the keyboard. But besides that, mainly keyboards, a guitar, and bass. And that's really it. The keyboard, and nowadays with software-based synthesizers, you can cover a lot of sounds. Play them on the keyboard, and it sounds like you're playing all kinds of stuff. But it's mainly just doing it on the keyboard.
And when you play live now, do you loop?
Yeah, when I did a lot of looping. Today, I think I'm just going to play. I decided to scale it back to just a guitar and vocal, and then a little piano and vocal. But yeah, I do a lot of looping. But then during a show, sometimes I'll just play guitar by myself and sing and not do the looping thing, depending on the song. Because some are hard to loop. There's a lot going on. It's hard to get a looper version of some of the more complicated songs. But yeah, looping is fun. It's kind of like riding off the side of at the edge of a cliff, because things can go wrong. Because I have a very guerrilla style looper. It's all live, so if you screw up, there's not much you can do. It's kind of like driving at the edge of a cliff, and you may fall off. I often do.
Are you awake yet?
Yeah, I'm awake. I was going to ask, so the last person we talked to was Beardy, P.T. Beardmore, and he mentioned that you went and saw him play live.
I did. Yeah.
And he was embarrassed. He said that he saw a very lame gig at some Mexican restaurant.
Yeah.
Oh, they sounded great, though. It was a weird venue. I'll agree with him on that. but they were killer. It was him and what's his buddy's name?
Buck.
Yep, Buck. And then they had a female
Scott.
singer.
Oh, no. Yeah.
She was so good, too. But they sounded fantastic. That was so much fun to see them.
So what to get you out of the house to go and see live music, what sorts of things do you like to go and listen to live?
Oh, people like Beardy. I mean, anyone that is, I know that it's going to be great songs, and they're going to perform them with passion, and it's going to be sincere, authentic. Get out any day for that. That's for sure.
Did you get any questions from folks?
Nope. Nobody wants to know anything.
No.
But I have a songwriting question. So, what is that process like? Do the lyrics come first, or the music, or do you have a routine that you do, or is it organic and it just happens how it happens?
Yeah, it happens how it happens. Sometimes it'll be, very rarely the lyric comes first. That's usually the thing I struggle with most. But usually it's stumbling on a guitar riff or something like that. Or sometimes it's looping. I'll just come up with like a little synth patch and then play a little loop, and then that'll kind of spur some other ideas. And then I'll remember, like, sometimes it's merging old songs with new songs too. Like I'll come up with something I feels a good chorus, and then there'll be a song maybe I tossed away that I didn't like, but I'll remember I did like the verse on that one though, and I'll take the verse and merge it with like a new chorus. I've done that a bunch too, just taking old aborted ideas and just taking the elements I liked and merging them with new things. But yeah, it's pretty random. Sometimes it's just sitting at the piano and playing something, and all of a sudden a song pops out, and sometimes it's a little work. Depends on the song. But
do you remember the first song you wrote? Officially,
probably. I think I was like 13, and my parents had bought me this. Remember those keyboards back in the day that you could get at like Kmart or shop? They have the speakers.
I had one.
Yeah, that that's. Then the keys were actually half size too. They weren't even full size keys. But I remember I had this one song. It was called "I Take My Chances," and I remember that song. I take my chances almost every day. It was like this epic, terrible song.
At 13.
I remember that was the first time I realized, hey, I think that I just wrote a song. But I used to do this thing with my mom, though, when I was a kid. When I was doing my piano lessons, I'd be playing a very elementary version of a Mozart piece. And then I would come up with these little melodies. I don't remember them now, and I would figure them out. And then I'd go, Mom, do you think that was Mozart, or do you think that was me? And then she'd go, well, I don't know. But she clearly knew what was Mozart, what was mine, which was very encouraging. So I can thank my mom and dad for putting up with me making way too much noise in the house. That's for sure.
After having 8 children, I think she was probably practiced by the time she got to you.
Yeah, after 8, she's like, yeah, I can zone that out.
Would you feel like playing for us now?
Sure. Yeah, I can play some stuff.
That'd be
Yay.
awesome. Fantastic. Thanks for your time, Jon.
Oh, thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate this, and I'm big fans of both of you, so it means a lot to be here.
And
Thank
just as a reminder, most of the folks here probably know, but Jon has several CDs out, 5 in fact, on Bandcamp, and you can purchase them.
That's
Lies
true.
and Shenanigans, just $7.
Yeah,
so
that's-
it's an
yep.
easy buy. We'll switch over to have to toggle a bit once we get going.
Cool.
All right.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
All right,
you.
see ya.